afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, Sacramento, California, Portland, Oregon, Jackson, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Little Rock, Arkansas, Detroit, Michigan, Hampton, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, Buffalo, New York, New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to lunch with the election conference for March the 4th, Van Newman, 2023. My name is Al Fortune, host and creator lunch with the election conference with Elder Alan Lyles. How you doing, Rev?
Fine.
And how's the family?
Fine.
And Brother Scott, how you doing, sir?
Too blessed to be distressed.
Well, right now, that's a good place to be, because being distressed is not always a good thing to be. And right now, we'll be, sure like you said, we'll be joined by the CEOs of the National Chamber Congress, Charles Bowles III. But right now, we're broadcasting live on Ferguson USA, HotTarget.com, also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, on beautiful North County and St. Louis City, also from Jefferson County, Missouri. And now, without further ado, we'll be blessed to have our prayer. We can pray with Elder Alan Lyles, who's the pastor of Walnut Park Baptist Church, located 5 Pleasant Avenue, North St. Louis 63120. And right now, Elder Alan Lyles, who is being our prayer for the week, he's also the pastor of the Walnut Park Baptist Church, located 5 Pleasant Avenue, North St. Louis 63120. And the next verse you will be of Elder Alan Lyles, pastor of Walnut Park Baptist Church, located at 55. Let me ask you a question, Real. How long have you been pastor of the church there?
Huh?
How long have you been pastor there?
Whoa. I've been the pastor there ever since I've been saved.
Okay, my God. Okay. Now that is something else, Real. Okay, I just thought we never talked about that, okay? So we count those years up later on, okay? So anyway.
Yeah, see, I was at another assembly, and God sent me over to the Walnut Park to teach. Cause see, I teach leaders.
Okay.
That's my calling. I'm like Moses them. You know, Moses them taught Aaron and all them, and I'm the same way.
Okay. Well, on that note, we have a prayer for today, if you don't mind.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we continue to thank you for waking us up this morning. And Heavenly Father, we thank you for your death, burial, and resurrection, that we are passed from death unto life before we sleep and after we sleep. We thank you we're already seated in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Our name is written in the Lamb Book of Life. And Heavenly Father, I should bless the sick all over the universe, Heavenly Father. You know what to do. And Heavenly Father, pray that we have wonderful fellowship with you and discuss the word where people get a understanding and continue to grow in grace and the knowledge of the truth. In Jesus' most precious name, amen.
Amen, Rev. Thank you so much, sir. And again, thank you. Okay, so what you got for us this week, Rev?
I'm coming out the Old Testament, and I'm going to be doing some expounding and explaining different things from these scriptures. You know, I ain't got no special subject, but I'm just talking about the future, what's going to happen, what's going to take place.
Prophecy, in other words.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, we should get our pencils out and our notepads. Am I right?
Yeah. If you like.
Okay, well, wait, I got mine here. I'm learning to do that with you, okay? Go ahead.
Okay, the chapter is Daniel, the 7th chapter of Daniel.
Okay.
And up above the title said, The Visions of Daniel. Daniel from 7 chapter from verse 1 to 13. The beast vision of Daniel. Now I'm going to talk about what this vision of the beast of Daniel is. number 1 said, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. See, right here, Daniel was visiting, in Daniel dreams and stuff, he was visiting Satan. He was coming up against Satan now. The people don't really talk about that, but if you look at what this saying, this said Babylon. Babylon is what Satan had the children of Israel to build that tower. That was Babylon. So
that's the one they're going to build in heaven, right?
Yeah, that's why God told him he going to come down to man and see what's going on.
Okay.
See, Babylon is the new city, and also it's the new place where Satan going to be there when the Lord come back to take the church out. Before he take the church out, he going to take the church out, but this going to be doing tribulation is Babylon when he going to knock him out of Babylon because he going to be sitting on the throne. Then he go on and say, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strolled upon the great sea. Now he talking about the 4 winds. That's north, south, east, and west. You know, down by the equator, stuff was coming that way. From Canada, it was coming that way. From the Pacific Ocean, coming that way. And from the Atlantic Ocean, coming that way. This is what Daniel talking about. All these things happen. And then he said the Great Sea. So the Great Sea is the Mediterranean Sea on the other side of the universe. Okay, verse 3. It said, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. They were 4 great beasts. These beasts were something else too. Well, as we go on down, they're going to explain some of the Greece and what the beast is and all that. They're going to explain that.
Okay, come on, bring it right up, bring it.
The world empire, Nebuchadnezzar. The 4th verse said, the first was like a lion. It had eagle wings. I beheld to the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand up on the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Now this right here, this beast right here, stood up on the feet and he was a man. And I think it ain't talking about no other than about Satan. People don't ever talk that, but I believe that's talking about Satan. Because the Lord don't come in this way. Satan comes in different kind of forms and shapes and attributes too, because he's supposed to be the most highest to God, next to God. Then they go on to say, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. Okay, you know a bear is a very strong and powerful animal.
And big too.
Yeah. So that bear, when he stand up, boy, he's very tall.
And you better run too.
Yeah. It best not to come in his path. And they can like run about 60 miles an hour.
A bear can go that fast? Jeez.
Yeah, he can go that fast.
Oh.
Like a bear. And it raised up itself on one side. And it had 3 reels in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. They said, thus unto it arise, devour much flesh. That's what the bear do. You know, flesh can be devoured a whole lot of ways by words. You know, This right here is dealing with words of things happen and expressing to you about things that truly happens without the word, but it happens. Because you got wicked people out here that be acting like this right here, that comes up on you. That's why a good example is when you drive in your car and somebody just zoom by you. That's one of them wild beasts approaching you, trying to harm you. And that's the work of Satan. That's what he does in the world. That's how you have all these accidents and this violence and confusion going on because of that. And it goes on to say, the world empire of Greece under Alexander. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which has up on the back of his 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now this is talking about the empire, and this is talking about how the empire is working, and it's also talking about that tall man, which was an idol that Daniel them had to worship. Every time the horn blow, they had to worship this man.
Wow.
You remember that, don't you, Ira?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
They had to worship this man. And this statue is made up of each one of these verses that I'm reading. And it's talking about how the power and the kingdom and what's going to happen. And here's the Roman Empire. See, the Roman Empire going to take over all that. You know who the biggest crook out here is? Your Roman Catholic. Your Roman Catholic Church is the biggest and wickedest people out here. They don't want to run everything in the system. They call the Papa, the Pope, all them. They the crooks that be running everything in the world. We're going to say, after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. See, this is the Roman Empire coming back up, and some is dealing with the legs, the feet, all that's dealing with that, where how it works. Then here's something else. Is the 8th verse said, the 10 kings versus the little horn. That little horn there is nothing but the devil. Verse 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes, like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. This right here is letting you know that Satan is a man too. That's who the Antichrist is. Satan, he's a man. And he gonna manifest in the flesh. Everything God do, he does. Verse 9.
He showed himself a couple of times during the Bible. He showed himself as a man, different things. He showed himself.
Yes, he do. And he ain't no man with no red horn, no red long tail and horns on his head. He ain't like that. That's a fairy tale. Or you can say mythology, myth. Somebody imagined it. Then verse 9 said, I beheld. Now this said the vision of the coming of the Son of Man in glory. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. Now Hey, who is this ancient of days? Jesus Christ, our Savior. Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheel is as a burning fire. Now, I just told you, God is a consuming fire. If God is a consuming fire, also Christ is a consuming fire. And just like what we seeing down here, we see figurative and the images of things, but when it comes to the true Lord and Savior, ain't no images. That's why we're consuming fire. That temperature that's in your body, the 98.6 temperature in your body, is what God gave to Adam when he made him of the dust, and then he blew a living soul. That temperature in your body, that living soul, is fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousand ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. Talking about the angels. The angels are Muriels. Mariads. Muriel means you can't count them. It's so many. And that's the same way that the mystery of the church of Abraham's seed, you ain't going to be able to count them. It's so many. Him and the judgment was set, and the books were open. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words, which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Verse 13. This right here is the beginning of Christ's second coming that I just got to read. This is a scene in heaven before the coming of the Son of Man, verses 9 through 12. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which should not pass away, and his kingdom that which should not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the thing. These great beasts, which are four kings, which should arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High should take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, and even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth was of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the others which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake a very great thing, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and he came. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast should be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which should be diverse from all kingdoms, and should devour the whole earth, and should tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are the 10 kings that should arise, and another should rise after them, and he should be diverse from the first, and he should subdue 3 kings, and he should speak great words against the Most High, and should wear out of the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and law, and they should be given into his hand until a time and the dividing of time. But the judgment should sit, and they should take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven should be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions should serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Amen.
Amen.
All that is telling us what our future is. Everybody's in Christ, you see what's going to happen. It's a victory. Even before it happens, it's a victory. He already told. He's speaking, then he bring it to pass. Look out!
See one thing, Rev. Right now, as we just look around us, things you mentioned there, we say this almost every week, okay, that we live in some crazy. Well, I have to say this, okay. In California, people move to California because they don't see no snow, right?
Yeah.
And look what happened now.
It's snow there now.
You got snow there now.
I keep telling them that the Lord said the world gonna wax worse and worse. And you know how California is falling off into the sea?
Mm-hmm.
This is the beginning of the United States not being in prophecy, and it's withering away by the water. It's making the changes. God is making this desolated land. That's why everybody have to go back over on the other side of the universe.
Well, Rev, that's on both coasts, okay, and also that's happening also down there, in Mexico also. But anyway, that's a story for another day, okay, Rev. We want to thank you so much for that message today. That's Reverend Pastor Allen Lyles, Pastor 104 Bible Chapel Church in North St. Louis on 55 West 11th Avenue, and also Scott Owen. afternoon. You listen to lunch with Elizabeth and Commerce on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in St. Louis. Hope it's nice where you are. We have had some crazy, crazy weather around the country. But right now, this past week, this week alone, we have got 3 high-profile murder cases this week, both in life sentences for the people that did the crime. In South Carolina, down in Waltersboro, South Carolina, you got the Alex Murdoch trial, and this is taking place in the Clinton County Courthouse. He was found guilty after only 3 hours of deliberation, and this trial went on for a couple of weeks now. And his crime was he killed his wife and his son. And at the end of it, this whole trial with him, it was all about money. Here in St. Louis, this has not been such a high profile. We had a murder case here that a reality TV star from reference to Sweetie Pie. I'm going to say that wrong. The reference to Sweetie Pie, which had been on the own TV network for a little time here, and it was showing the owner of Sweetie Pie, and one of the co-stars was Tim Norman. He was supporting the program along with his nephew, and he's also a former star. His name was Andre Monroe Jr. Well, in this case, the son of Tim arranged for his nephew to be killed. And again, it was all of us some money. He has saved a bit of a high back in March 2016, and he did this have to take out a $450,000 life insurance policy on his nephew. Now, there have been a whole lot of drama in both cases, but at the end of the day, both these men will have their whole life in jails and the rest of their lives. And in both cases, the judge had to make comments saying it didn't make good sense. And in both cases, killing their family members never makes sense to me, Red. You know what I'm saying? It made no sense. And in both cases here, when you're killing your family members, and then you're going to try to lie about it, and at the end of the day, you get caught. And so right now, that's going on here in St. Louis, and also in the South Carolina case, you may ask my question on this. Mr. Murdoch, he just shaved his head. As he just went to prison for the first day in prison, okay? But he didn't shave his head. Now he has, got a bald head. And I kind of know why he has that sticky red hair, and he don't want to see that turn into gray. He's trying to see that stress wouldn't get into him. You know what I'm saying? But again, in both cases, we pray for both the families, and that's okay. And I know, for the father to kill, his son and his wife, that is as wicked as you can get, Rev.
Yeah.
She brought your babies to the world, and you killed them, and we don't know the reason why other than greed, in both cases. And I know he's speaking about, again, she was the front page news for a long time here in St. Louis, that it was all about dollar bills. Greed again.
You know something, Al?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Aaron, these people said the violence, the drugs, and all that caused them to do that. Even without the violence and the drugs, you was wicked. You was wicked, and there ain't them drugs and stuff ain't got nothing to do with the hell that's in you until you be born again, to get that out of you.
Well, I guess you should say that it's one of those things where the person that's hid away in you, the real you came out. How do you want to describe that? I'm saying.
Now, when he was talking about the person in him, it wasn't him, it was another person. They lied.
Oh yeah, you gotta blame somebody.
That was him.
You gotta blame somebody.
Yeah, that was him doing it. That's how much a man is.
Yeah,
The
man,
Bible don't have no respect of person. And the man is wicked.
We have another case here, okay? We'll see if we started on this one. Right now, you can envision $1.6 billion, okay, if somebody found that type of lawsuit against you. And right now, Dominion voting systems has filed that type of lawsuit against Fox News. And it's not a pretty picture according to documents that have been revealed this past week. What it does here, the documents show a conspiracy theories about the 2020 election were baseless. But inviting guests who screwed those things on the airways of Fox News, well, the guests came on, saying that right now what they did is people, some places in the country right now still feel almost 2 years later now after the election, that 2 years now, that Donald Trump is still to be president. And we're watching right now all this indication coming out that people are going to jail. And right now, the people that's going to jail, they're going to jail. Most times they watch Fox News. They got some type of news out there someplace that told them that it was a lie. They believe that lie. But the person going to pay, let's say you follow the money. And right now, the person responsible for that, okay, the guy by the name of Rupert Murdoch. Now, if you've not heard of Rupert Murdoch, he is the person that owns Fox News. Now, also, Fox News is not just in this country, they are around the world. Mm-hmm. Right? They come from Australia. They got in trouble, the Murdoch Corporation got in trouble over in England a couple of years ago. But they had some falsified. I mean, he also owns the newspapers and stuff. But again, all this misinformation has led to people going to jail, lives being messed up and stuff, all because of a lie. All because of a lie. And now, I tell people all the time, when you text somebody, when you email somebody, it is like your words are being put in stone. Because they can always come back to haunt you. Yeah, I know a lot of people I know personally who have gone for good paying jobs some places, and they almost got about to be hired, and they said, "Oh, by the way, you remember you did this?" Which meant, well, when you was a kid, you said this on Facebook or YouTube or stuff like this. They're actually costing people jobs, man. And that's why people need to be cognizant of what they put down. And people be talking sometimes, telling all their business, in a text sometimes. So now they got the text is showing that Rupert Murdoch, the owner who controls the networks, he knew that they were telling a lie. And they proved that he knew they were telling a lie. And so now what's happening now? Well, they got to pay the price. Yeah. And the bad part about this, people, is that the $1.6 billion, okay, that is just a tip of the iceberg. Because, see, that's going to Fox Dominion. But what's going to take place here, all those host personalities like Tucker Carlson, Hannity, and all those people like that, well, they're going to be civil lawsuits that's going to take place. Now, when the civil lawsuits get taking place, okay, it means they can sue you personally. I mean, that's a bad thing. That is a bad thing. That's one of the things right now that police lawsuits right now in court, and I guess say in Congress right now, they're trying to get put into law where the police officers can be liable for their action. Well, right now, Tucker Carlson and all those hosts they had over there will now be liable for the action. Now, keep in mind, this is the information in a big town government, right? And so now, just the last couple of weeks here, the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, says he cut a deal, okay, to get the speakership, that he's going to release over 40,000 hours of surveillance tape footage, I should say, from the insurrection on January 6, 2021. Now, that is called, how can I put this? Put our whole country at risk again from the inside out. The insurrection was on the outside, when people trying to get into the building, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you went through all this footage about what happened on the inside, okay? And that's going to put more people in danger.
Yep.
You know, and also, put the connecting dots here. This is Fox News in these tapes now, okay? Who was just been, who's in court right now, okay, for spreading the false information, misinformation they call it. Now they're about to get some more information here, you know, about how to destroy our country from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, because these people putting people, the Congress people there, the senators, their staff, everyone that which, you know, dealers right now will be able, people from the outside around the world will be able to look at when all the security out, safety out there. So, how you escape? Where you go hide at? All the secrets of the building, of those buildings, I should say. Now, this makes no sense. It makes no sense, all because one man said, if you vote for me, okay, now see, this is the power of one vote, people, okay? Kevin McCarthy needed the votes he needed, okay, because Speaker of the House. And suppose he could have deal, okay, to release these tapes. And remember, we were talking about during that time period, okay, sit back and watch and see what is actually being bargained for, you know, as time comes about. And so now we find out now, okay, how that one of the things that was bargained for, okay, was our freedom, our country, for security and safety. And so, but I will say one thing about this now. McCarthy made that decision by himself, okay? But some people in the Republican Party said, hold on a second here, okay? Hold up. You know, and they said, we all in danger here. You know what I'm saying? You just heard the Democrats. I mean, you heard everybody here. Yeah, I mean, so let's be for real here. So right now, we're going to see how that works out, but supposedly Carson going to start broadcasting those tapes, the information next week also. And while this is going on, this is very important here. Just this past week, okay, the Justice Department came to the conclusion that President Trump and all his allies that were involved with plotting the insurrection can now be held liable for their actions. They said you cannot be covered by the Constitution, okay, when you're trying to overthrow the government. And so now all these people again will be held liable for their actions. And this is when it's going to get real interesting now. Now, as this investigation continues to go forward with the Justice Department about what happened with the documents, what happened, the RSCT committee and stuff. But it's been quiet, okay, because there's always a quiet before the storm, really. And so sometimes in the next couple weeks, okay, you're going to hear a lot of information, okay, about some people being indicted. And I do mean indicted, for some very serious stuff, okay?
Yeah.
It's not pretty, okay? But again, this is our country. We said justice turns slow, and it can be very slow sometimes. And also, we just talked about this. It's not funny, okay, but in Southern California, okay. Now that's down around LA and down that area. In Northern California, around San Francisco, where they kind of use the cold weather there, okay. But in Southern California, they used to never rains in Southern California, but right now they have snow. Now, at first it was like kind of funny, okay, when the first were falling, in Southern California. But now they find it's a very serious thing. That some people right now have been packed, they can't get out to get food. They can't drive because most of the roads and stuff are very narrow, and so you got to dig equipment in to dig them out, and get them in and out, okay. And in most cases, places like that, they don't know what a snowplow is, really.
Yep.
They don't have the same idea, you know. And if a season has a snowplow, that means that this is about to get worse before it gets better. And so right now, I actually pray for those people out in California. Right now, this past Thursday, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency in 13 counties affected by the storms. You know, and said this is kind of the narrow, winding road that goes up into the mountains. These can be difficult to navigate during the daytime. So some people are trying to drive in the dark out there, and you're talking about falling off to the mountain. Where you go to California, you know, it's kind of mountainous out there. You're off the beaches and stuff. You know what I mean? But again, this is not a good thing. We pray for them out there, and again, you know, we said, you know, food. Well, that means right now they can't get gas. You know, most of them have solar panels. Some of that, you know, and that's don't get packed on those and stuff. I mean, so there's a whole lot of issues going on, and most of them now you used to have snow boots and stuff, right? Yeah. I'm right, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let's say I'm not something real good, but no, out there in California right now.
Boy, that's rough.
Well, I know, and you know, unfortunately, here in the Midwest, you know, you're talking about global warming. You know, you're talking about climate issues and stuff. But right now, normally St. Louis in our area, we would have snow in March, a little bit of some snow, but in February and January, and starting in December, we have snow in most of those three months. But this year, we didn't hardly got any snow.
Yep.
And in most years, New York City had got a lot of snow. They just got their first snow this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, I mean, so now, if there's not something going on here that's out of the ordinary, you know, and the weathermen, they still don't know what to say. Okay, they still saying, "Oh, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it." But around the world right now, you know, people, you know, my age, older, sometimes younger, okay, can remember the Cuban Missile Crisis back when President Kennedy was president, and this was embargo where Cuba was involved with Russia. Well, the tension right now between the United States and Russia is getting so tense right now about what's going on in Ukraine. You know what I mean? With President Vladimir Putin. Well, what they're doing now, that the tension is so thick, and that is not a good thing.
Yep. Hey, you know something else, Howard?
What's that, Rev?
Something else. You know, Satan come to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yeah.
So the earth, Satan don't care about nothing but Satan. And go ahead.
Well, Rev, right now, when I said tension, I mean the United States and Russia both have nuclear weapons, and also people don't talk about it a lot. Okay, they also have nuclear weapons also in Ukraine.
Yep.
And so right now, not only do we have the United States and Russia going, you know, talking to each other in a negative way, but they are communicating. Good news is that this past week, I think it was last Thursday, the Defense Secretary, what's his name, Anthony Blinken did talk to the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Briefly, they met, and they are talking here. So there is some communication going back and forth. But right now, China is also getting involved with this. And so one of the things that China is trying to decide if they should help Russia. Because right now, Russia is running out of missiles. They're running out of everything. And Ukraine going in, we knew they didn't have this. They had enough missiles just to fight. So there's nothing new about that. So again, please pray right now, for not only just for the people of Ukraine, but also for the church in our country, for our safety. Because when Rev just said, several statements with them nuclear missiles, it can go anywhere just like that.
Yep.
And that can be a very bad thing. And also in the country, we can't forget about East Palestine, Ohio, where we got those tanks, you know, the toxic stuff is in the air. And just this afternoon, there's another, you know, we talking about the railways having the toxic waste on the railways. But on our highways, we got those tractor trailers going down the highway always, all the time. But one just had an accident up in Maryland. And guess what? They got a big fire. So guess what? That toxic stuff is in the air getting up in Maryland. And, you know, and a lot of these regulations that we have put in place to try to make sure that we, you know, that we all were safe, they were rolled back during the last administration. So now rolling these things back to make more money for the, you know, for the railways or the trucking companies, they're making billions. They're making billions. How much money do you need? And how much money do you need? So, but again, this truck, you know, had a crash today. What's happening in East Palestine? But even right now here in St. Missouri, we had a lot of toxic waste. You know, that had been stored here, going back to when they had the nuclear bomb, and the nuclear waste is still, you know, was brought to St. Louis, and right now it's getting into our water system. And that's something that's going on even as we speak. We fight for that. We will have more information about that later on coming up, okay? But also, I would say most times, stuff, the local, you know, anything happens to the home, we can say the employment rate continues to stay steady for the last several weeks, okay? It's still really low, it's not going up. And also for the first time in over 40 years in Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot lost her bid for re-election, and this past Tuesday, and also this is kind of interesting because there was forecast that there will be a runoff between a white person who filed as a Democrat, but he's a Republican. Guess what? That's what took place. So right now you got a black gentleman there and a white gentleman there, and so what would take place here would be a black would not be, may not be the next mayor of the city of Chicago. But we did not a runoff. We're going to see how that works out. And also talking about the politics here in St. Louis for the first time in our entire history. This coming Tuesday, we have an election here where for the first time, okay, we normally have 28 wards in the city of St. Louis, and we will be having a race for 14 aldermen. And they couldn't walk the wards, they not couldn't even have the representation in half. And so we have 14 aldermen running to be, to do the job of 28 aldermen. So this is going to be a very interesting situation. And like I said, this is going to be first time in our history. One of the things we do know that our services in St. Louis are bad already. And I think we need more. As we have this conversation, you probably read about around the country about what happened with the young man who unfortunately injured this young lady who shouldn't have been driving. We pray for her. She's a volleyball player, just walking down to her family on a Saturday night, and this man ran a stop sign and created all type of chaos. And that again, he should have been on the street. And then just this past weekend, another man ran a red light. He went around some cars. And this was down by St. University, which is like kind of in the heart of the Midtown area. And he hit an SUV and flipped over, and it took 4 young people. 4 young people. And naturally, he ran from the scene as usual. But before he ran, he got a license plate off of his car. And then he ran. Well, they just found out who he was. He turned himself in and kind of found out his license had been suspended also. A lot of problems we have here in the city of St. Louis, are being created not just by policemen not doing the right thing, but now around the country, we don't have police officers like we used to. We barely have enough police officers right now. It's just, we're probably down 200 police officers right now. And so the presence of police officers almost on every corner, doing what they're supposed to be doing, taking care of stop signs. But right now, this man, these young people, he went around people at a stoplight, Red. And then he just ignored the stoplight and was speeding. You know, and killed these 4 young kids, you know what I'm saying? And now he's going to be saying, I'm sorry, but 4 young people had just got killed. And there's 4 more people that bring them back. No. But see, again,
and he ain't sorry either. Because he was sorry he never did it.
Well, my mother always said, you don't say sorry till you get caught.
That's right.
If you don't get caught, you don't say I'm sorry. And so right now, in this case, he's sorry now, but one of the problems we're going to say here in Missouri, St. Louis, especially also in Kansas City, our crimes are up, mainly because our legislators in Just City have passed some laws that have made it very hard, okay, for the, when you can allow an 18-year-old to walk down the street with a shotgun, an AK-47, and nobody can stop them from walking. I mean, so how do you know they're going to rob somebody? You can't stop them. Or when you legalize dope in the car, okay, then, that's not a good thing because at this point, you don't know what they're going to do next. So as you take away more and more rights, okay, from the police officer, and as opposed to, we talk about defund, but it's not defund, but it's a problem, okay? It's the fact that our legislators right now are taking away, the policing powers that police used to have. And one of the things is, you could stop somebody, if they ran a red light, ran a stop sign, and they usually have a thing called jaywalking. You get a ticket for that. But now you have enough police officers now to go out and police for that. I mean, it's just that bad. So right now in Just City and in Missouri, you have to always understand that for about over 100-something years, that the urban areas, okay, control all the legislation that goes through Just City. And now the rural areas are now controlling Just City. So the majority of the House and Senate and the governor's office are controlled by Republicans. And right now, they're feeling as though whatever could happen in a small town, where you have shotguns on the back of the back, in your truck and stuff like that. You can't do that in a metropolitan area. And they just create a whole lot of problems. Matter of fact, we're going to come back in a second here. We're going to take a small break. My name's Howard, folks. That's Scott, that's Ray, listen, Ferguson, USA, hottopic.com. We're lunch with the Missouri Commerce. We take us out here, Scott.
Two.
Welcome back to National Intellectual Commerce on the beautiful Saturday afternoon here in St. Louis. As I was about to say before we took our small break here, in St. Louis City, murder rates and carjacking continue to skyrocket. And that's because a lot of the laws that have been passed in Jeff City, is not where you have gun control and control like stuff like this. And one of the things that took place this past week is that some years ago, people can be prosecuted as an adult at the age of 12. But they changed those laws around and crime went crazy. Again, there are some things that are taking place and need to change, okay? And also takes place with our legislators. And so right now, one of the things I'm about to do now is introduce a lady to you I know very well. You should know her. She ran for the Senate a couple of times, and her name is Coffee Right, but I call her Alderwoman Coffee Right. How you doing, Alderwoman Coffee Right?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you. Beautiful day in the loop.
And yes, it is. Matter of fact, it is. Because yesterday, here in St. Louis, oh my God, this time of day yesterday, we were having high winds. I was driving by the end of yesterday, and it was high winds, rain, blowing rain, and it was a crazy day in the neighborhood and cold.
Right, absolutely.
And the day the sun came out.
Yes, sir. I was out
Because it's a good day for you, okay? Because when you go out canvassing, we got an election coming up in your case. It's coming in Tuesday. So right now, be so kind. Tell us first of all a little bit about Coffee Right. Now I know we talked a little bit about your ran for office several times before. So tell us again about yourself and how you decided to run for alderman in the city of St. Louis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carla Coffee Right. Most people just call me Coffee. And I ran for U.S. Senate twice. Came in 2018. I came in second place out of 18 candidates, and I was number 2. Came in second place. In 2022, I ran 34 candidates, came in 4th place in the Democrat ballot. Now I'm running for alderperson, and the reason why is because it's kind of the same as the U.S. Senate as far as writing legislation, but it's for much smaller areas, for a ward, about 7,000 to 10,000 people. Well, now 20,000, actually. 20,000 people. It's changed, the new 11. And I'm an advocate, an activist, as well as an organizer. And so, therefore, there's a lot of changes that need to be done. A lot of things that have been overlooked with in St. Louis, and especially the north side, which is predominantly black, African American. And so, therefore, with that being said, we in mostly all urban areas, realistically, all over the United States, we've always, been overlooked. And so, with that being said, I decided to run. I'm running. My platform includes home repairs for all. They have a few home repair programs, and the top, 30, 40, 50 people, first come, first serve, get all the work done. And so I'm not, I'm for everybody getting something done and starting with the outside. So I know, it's only so much money, but if we focus on just the outside where people's homes are being written up by inspectors, violations, and next thing you know, they take their homes. We have vacant homes everywhere, which becomes vacant lots. If you just do a little bit on the outside of everyone, which would be chip paint, gutters, tuck pointing, and things like that, then everybody can have the opportunity to save their home. Also, I'm really strong about jobs for youth. We used to have the summer jobs. Not only do I want us to bring back the summer jobs, but I say year-round jobs. And how that can happen is let these kids do the work on the home. And then that way, and term that is apprenticeship. And then, we have our environmental problems where we have these harmful pesticides are being sprayed all over the parks and in our neighborhoods, and that's causing cancer. In mostly every household, you have situations where someone has asthma. So that's another issue that has to be dealt with. So we have a lot of things that we have to address. And I say the sooner the better. And St. Louis has the money to do it, so let's get it done.
Also, Coffee, I'm remiss, okay. What high school did you go to?
I went to Beaumont.
Okay.
Yeah, and hi. Yeah, and
So are you on campus today by chance?
You say what? Right.
Are you on campus today?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Are you canvassing today? Are you outside knocking on doors?
Yeah. We're out here canvassing. I'm sorry. We're out here canvassing, and also we have a press conference that started at the same time as this interview, and I apologize. And so we're this door here. Thank you, and we're speaking on behalf of they're trying to terminate our circuit attorney, Kim Gardner, and so it's just another way of trying to take power, and keep us in poverty, and so therefore I'm fighting for that. It never stops, and so much going on today. We got a big rally going on where the Arab store beat up a young boy, beat him bad, and so that's going on. It's a lot going on today. But meanwhile,
okay. No, where's that called?
That's over on in Jennings, West Florissant, and Jennings. That's going on as we speak. I'm outside on Bayard, 1138 Bayard, where at church where I'll be speaking after I get done with this interview on behalf of Kim Gardner. So there's so much always going on, but hey, have to be there. Have to make it happen.
Oh, okay, now Coffee, in your new ward, what are your boundaries?
My boundaries are Shoto and Vandervander, the the east side of Vandervander and Shoto, to the going down to Natural Bridge, all the way down to Natural Bridge and Fairgrounds Park. Take that up Natural Bridge, take it west to Marcus, go around Marcus down to Lee, wrap around O'Fallon Park, come on down Grand to Natural Bridge, take Garrison all the way down to Martin Luther King, pick up Jefferson, and right back at Shelter in Jefferson. And so those are the boundaries. Old 19, first, the third, the fourth, and the sixth. A little bit of everything.
That is humongous.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question, okay? And I'm gonna call you older woman now. We're gonna think positive, confusing. Do you have a staff now to work with you once you get elected?
Okay. So anyway, so it's a lot going on, but we're gonna continue, to fight. And
My question for you, okay, was when you own right now.
You said what?
Okay, right now, okay, if you look at all the women now, when you have a staff working with you, I know that in the past, they did not have anybody to work with other than the secretary. You get more of that to work with you now that your ward is much bigger.
We do. We get to bring we get to have an assistant, a paid assistant to work with us, and so that'll be helpful, but that'll be helpful, but it's still a lot to deal with, but I think I can handle it, because had I handled the U.S. Senate, it would have been the whole entire state of Missouri. Hi, Derek.
The whole state, yeah. It would have been the whole state, yeah.
Right. And the entire state.
Are you in the press conference now?
I'm sitting. They haven't started yet, so I appreciate you all's patience with me. But yeah, we haven't started, so we right here at the church. And so, but again, with this position, there's so much that we have to deal with, because I'm also interested in saving these schools. They're tearing down our public schools, as you know. We got to keep those schools open, put programs in them it's just, that's a must. I mean, kids getting up at 4:30 in the morning in order to be at the bus stop by 5:30, if they want to eat breakfast and wash up or whatever they have to do to be shipped on the other side of town. And now that DCA program, that contract is expired. So what are we going to do? And so, I'm always fighting for the seniors. My mom, was a senior. My grandmother spent a lot of time, taking care of them in their last 8 years of life. So I always have the seniors close their heart. I do a lot of things with Miss Ollie, and that's focusing on the south side.
Ollie Stewart.
Ollie Stewart and that focuses on the seniors on the south side. I want to do something for the seniors on the north side as well. We can't leave no seniors left behind, okay? Because without them, no us. So these are just positions that I've taken and I've been fighting for. I'm a member of a UAPO grassroots organization, and we are coalition with every other productive and progressive grassroots organization. As a matter of fact, we're all here right now, all the productive grassroots organizations, and I'll be speaking on this platform as well. And
okay, why don't you tell us a little bit now? Okay, people heard a lot about Kim Gordon, okay, and right now the governor is right now transferring for office, and so it was, we haven't heard in St. Louis all the news TV stations, the radio stations, the newspapers right now are all coming out against Kim Gordon. Tell us some different things.
That's a bunch of hogwash, and I'm going to be going live in a second. So if anybody want to go on my live, you can hear straight out of my mouth what I have to say and what everybody else has to say. But basically, Kim Gardner, as a prosecuting circuit attorney, they do not set bonds, nor do they revoke bonds. So the situation with the young man that had caused the accident by failing to yield, his bond should have been revoked. He's made over 91 violations, but Kim Gardner's office had requested that it was revoked on several occasions, and they have paperwork to prove it. And the judge never allowed that to happen. So, and now they want to try to make Kim Gardner the scapegoat. But what's happening is he wouldn't have never. The whole thing is that how did he get to 90 violations of his ankle bracelet in the first place? How did that happen? How do you get to violate 90 times without anybody taking care of that? That's the real question. And I got the answer to it. I know the answer to that question. And you know what the answer is? Okay, we all heard about we all know that only the judge can revoke a bond or set a bond. It has nothing to do with Kim Gardner's office. Okay. We all know that the young man had 90 plus violations of his ankle braces, what I call a digital shackles. But what they're not saying is, how did that happen? Well, it happened because the court system and the judges partnered up, allowed an ex-probation officer, ex-parole officer, allow them to hire an ex-probation officer, an ex-probation officer, ex-parole officer, allow him to privately, his private owned company, to handle, to distribute the ankle bracelet. And in that contract, it did not require them to monitor it. So they never monitored, sent reports to the court. Never. So if they never sent reports to the probation officer, to the court, to the prosecuting attorney, how in the heck was anybody supposed to know this man was in violation?
Well, wait,
and so therefore,
you saying there's nobody that monitors those bracelets right now?
What's going on?
No, please. Okay.
You got a problem with him?
JB, here, just come on. Just put
Derek, here, Carol, let me tell you something. I'm sorry, they having some technical difficulties, and
my question to you was, okay, you saying that there's nobody that monitors?
And so wait a minute. So anyway, I'm sorry, they got some things going on. It's getting pretty rowdy. But anyway, the bottom line is the monitoring, so-called monitoring company who issues the ankle bracelet had never, who issued the ankle bracelet never made any reports, and that was part of the contract. So they made over $11.9 million serving thousands of Missourians, mostly St. Louis County and St. Louis City, with ankle bracelets, but they never had to turn in a report. So who do we need to blame? That goes with the system. That goes with the judges who's friends with the parole probation officer gentleman named Michael Smith, who owned the company called EMAS. See, so they never talk about that.
Wow, I never heard that myself.
Well, everybody gonna hear it today because I'm the one to tell it. Okay, I did the research, and see this young man, Mr. Riley, who caused the accident. He's been on a bond since August of 2020. So he went all that time. Violation could be cross the wrong side of the street. Violation could be you didn't plug your ankle bracelet up and keep it charged. That could be a lot of those violations. Not to come to his defense, but the thing is that this is what we're dealing with, and it went on since 2020. Now, last year, they decided to go with someone else, another company, to handle the contracts, and they're supposed to be monitoring things. But again, who friends are they? So this is nothing but a money grab. That's what it is, a power grab and a money grab. And they're using Kim Gardner's office as a scapegoat. And if we don't get her, we'll... Yeah, so it's sad that people have made comments against Kim and not even aware of all the facts. We've been in Jefferson City. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, what about some of the officers that they got a bunch of warrants shortage of files for this department, and they're not being
wait a minute. I didn't hear you. It wasn't clear.
Okay. For policemen filed a charge to arrest somebody, okay, and they said they got cases that are back about 1,000 cases. And you have to prosecute. Why is that?
All I heard was, why is that? I'm sorry, we breaking up. You said.
Okay, right now, there's reported there's over 4,000 cases that have yet to be brought to go to court. Why is that?
You asked, why is that? Well, that's a question for the circuit attorney. I don't work in their office. But I will say this. First of all, Kim Gardner's office was understaffed because, majority of the people walked out because they didn't want a black boss, probably. That's most of our opinion, black female boss. A lot of the cases are bogus. She has a exclusion list of about 32 officers who have been found to write that they didn't. I'll just say that it was strong reason for suspicion, apparently. So you take all this in consideration, and then minimum funding. So she's trying to repair something that's been broke a long time.
Okay, and I think I get you here. I think that same problem, people walked out on her. The policeman union also is all white, and I know they didn't want to have a backward to get them also.
So, Mr. Fox. So,
yes, sir.
Yourself as well. When they pit us against each other, then it's a distraction. And the last thing we want to do is turn on each other. We have to find the facts. And so that's the last thing. So we,
Okay, what do people need to do, okay, to get you in office on next week about your campaign?
I need everybody. I need everybody to if you know anybody that live, how y'all doing? If you know anybody that live in the 18th ward, I need your support. support. I need you to spread the word. I need you to get out and I need you to get out and make sure you vote, because in the last election, 76% of the people didn't even get out and vote because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then sometimes you don't do nothing.
All right.
Okay. Good job. And so anyway, and so that's what we need. We need people to get out and vote. We need people to spread the word, because we're tired of the power always winning. We're tired of big money always winning, And so my opponent, I'm only running against one person. She definitely has way more money than me, but more money don't mean you're right, and don't mean your heart is in the right place. And so she's never been out here. Nobody knows about her other than, her friends and some of the people in the ward, because this is her 5th time running. She ran in September after John Muhammad went to prison, so she took his seat for about 4 or 5 months, and that's about it. I wouldn't say she's never done anything. I don't know what she's done, but that's just the thing. We ain't never, nothing that, she's not in a grassroots organization. She's not known for fighting for the people. People know where I stand. It's no secret. It's no secret where I stand and who I stand with, and I stand for it's for the people. They asked the question, well, who are your friends? And she named a couple of politicians that everybody ain't the happiest with right now. But I'm not going to be naming dropping names on politicians. I know all the politicians. I know all the grassroots people. But who my friends are the residents. And it's way more residents than there are politicians. Our job is to do our work in the best interest of the residents, point blank. That's it.
Okay, now, one of the people that are real, well, right now, the level ward, you said 18 ward, Rebel ward, that is excluded after 18 ward.
No, this is
21st.
I'm going to have to see.
Right now, this is not a good time for you to be talking, and I know you actually can't hear me.
This is a combination of the 21st, the 19th, the 4th, the 6th, and the 3rd. And so it's a little of all 3 of those. It's called the New 11. Yeah. And, alrighty. Well, if everybody want to jump on my Facebook Live or jump on Real ST Live or jump on your website, you'll be able to see moving forward today, my next move, and hear me speaking again about the situation with Kim Gardner, as well as I'm out here every day. I'm outside every day, all day long.
If people listen, okay, we had said this interview, I guess, last month, okay, for all this situation right now. This is why, always in the middle of doing stuff, okay, because you don't in the community, and this press conference, this came up in the last week or so we thank you all for taking the time to try to do what you got. Tell us some people that's at the press conference. Tell us some people who was there.
Huh?
Tell us some people that's at the press conference.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Tell us some people that's at the press conference.
Oh, Zaki Baruti, and I'll send you the list, and it has all the people names on it. But Zaki Baruti, Riddick is here. Attorneys from Kim's office, Amir Brandy, Jay Ozier. It's so many people. Can I send you the flyer, and maybe you can just read it off?
Sure, do that.
Okay, I'll send it right now. And thank you again so much for allowing me. I think my turn is up.
Okay.
Okay.
Speak about us also.
I will. I spread a word about you all, Ferguson, USA. And again, please get out and vote on March the 7th, Tuesday, March the 7th, as well as Tuesday, April the 4th. It's so important that you vote both elections, family. Really, really, and be sure to please vote Tuesday, April the 4th. But try to vote on both elections, because one is the primary, one is the general, and we need to win both, but we must win the general. So again, I'm Carla Coffee Right, family, and that's right, I said it. Thank you, everybody, so much, and thank you so much, Mr. Arbor.
Okay, thank you, God. Thank you.
Okay, bye now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand by while I get Mr. Folks back on the line. Back on. 5.
Yeah, okay, Scott. No, hold on, get rev, Scott. Let me get rev. Hold on, get rev, okay?
All right, get rev.
Okay, hold on a second. Get rev. Scott?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let's go ahead.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to lunch with the Missouri Chicken Comrade. We didn't have some lunch break there. We were talking to Humphrey Wright. She is a candidate from Alderman in the Melbourne Ward in Cedar St. Louis, and we apologize for the noise in the background, and she did take out, she did call in, okay, today, but we had shared this interview, about a month ago. So, and this is before all that's taking place now with our Secretary Jim Gardner, and Harvey is one of the guest speakers there. In fact, she's up next to speak. So, again, we thank her for taking that time to try to talk to us, okay? But that is how, live internet radio, okay, you know what I'm saying? You take the good with the bad. Sometimes it's an ideal situation, but we want to thank her for what she's doing. Matter of fact, Rib, Scott, I know that we had a lot, she covered a lot of things there, and let me do the best I can to kind of recap. What she was trying to say is that right now, her ward is now covering 4 different wards. The 18th, 4th ward, 4th ward, I think she said the 3rd ward, right? That's well, knowing the balance that she got, okay, that's a large area, okay, that you got to cover. And, and to have that responsibility is a lot of responsibility. And to me, only have one person as your assistant, that is a lot of territory, Rhea. A lot of territory, Scott. You know a little bit about the city, Rhea. You go to the city. That's coming from Banner's River, all going down to O'Fallon Park, from oh my God, from the 18th ward. That's a big area all by itself.
Yes, it is.
Jeez, that's a lot of territory. Now, me personally, okay, having worked in a system where you had 28 wards, and we had problems even with all of those wards getting things done. And so now to have this take place, okay, but again, somebody passed the laws there, they made them, you gotta work with them. But anyway, you listen to Ferguson, USCHotTarget.com. Names our folks, that's got that forever. So that's kind of new update on right now the flyer that's taking place up in Frederick City, Maryland, and said, again, the tanker truck kind of it's on fire. You can see the smoke for miles, and they said it's no political at this time. And they always tell you in the news at this time. But right now, you can see the smoke that's going up. That's a lot of black smoke, right? And Scott, you and I both know black smoke does not mean that's good smoke.
Well, it does mean the Pope hasn't been elected yet.
Yeah. Who is it? What you say, Scott?
I said it does mean the Pope hasn't been elected yet.
Right, yeah, well, no, Scott, that's a good one. I got to give you credit on that one. Well, we'll say one thing, though. With all these hazardous materials, that's being created. Because even with our cell phones, when we get new cell phones, the old phones can't go to the dumpster like they used to do because all the stuff that is made, they're made out of, and they become hazardous waste. And so right now, in the city of St. Louis, not where I live at, okay, but in the city of St. Louis, they have had a lot of problems, trying to, take care of the trash. I know they did start a system where they had, trash, for regular trash and one for, reusable, I should say. And so the trash pickup in the city of St. Louis has been a problem for years. And it's gotten worse, it got better for years now, but that's just one of the problems. And also, as you go through this, what we're going through now in the city of St. Louis, the problems of communications is a main problem that's been part of the city problem for years. And so we hope that Coffee can figure out a way, to do what she has to do. But one thing for sure, being in a lot of places at one time. Now, what she did mention to us, okay, that she will have an assistant to work with her, and that also includes her having a secretary in the office for them to take calls, and they're also responsible for kind of govern at the same time, create new laws. And I think one of the problems in the city of St. Louis, in fact, I know in St. Louis was, the job was years ago, the commitment was very functional, and the commitment job was to make sure your trash is taken care of, making sure, the street was clean, stuff like that. Well, a man by the name of Ben Shangle, years ago, he kind of took away the power from the commitment, get into the alderman. Well, Ben Shangle was married a long time ago. And he's a good guy. I know him very well. I worked in his office, And at that time, I think that was a bad idea then because the commitment is the one that's responsible for getting you elected. And he's the one that's going to talk to you all day long. And the legislator is the alderman, and their job is to be at City Hall, talk to the people about laws and stuff like that. But also they have the job of maintaining your house at the same time. That's what your ward is, actually your house. This has become somewhat chaotic, and I kind of see things get a little worse where it gets better. But that's just my personal opinion. And also, one of the things that's taking place today on a national level is that in Washington, D.C., there's always something going on in Washington, D.C., okay, but they have the CPAC convention going on, conference, I should say, and that's the Conservative Political Action Conference, and it's taking place now. We have obviously all on TV and the news, and different speakers, that's House Representatives, candidates, Republican candidates, for president. At the end of the day today, you have former President Donald Trump will be the guest speaker, and they call it a keynote speaker, and he'll be speaking now. But so far, you have, you try to keep track of what's going on. It's been kind of confusing, all the issues that's going on. But if you can watch it as much as you can, I tell people all the time, be you a Democrat or be you a Republican, you got to watch out and listen to what is being done. Because at the end of the day, okay, you you're spending the dollars that you pay for their sandwich, what they do. And also this past week, something I found that was very interesting, that in reparation is something that's been talked about for years and years, in black community with the government, our government, okay. So most recently, out in California, this is something that's kind of screened over does, that the Chinese people right now are now in support of black reparation taking place. People are not aware that during this Second World War, when the bombs fell, in Hawaii, there were a lot of black, Chinese, Japanese people, okay, that were in tombs. They were put in jail. Yeah. But now that they got, $20-some thousand, but now they're supporting getting the black reparations. So that is a good thing there. But again, there's a lot of things going on. But I think one of the things that dominated the news was the trial in South Carolina, and why there was so much kitchen page to this Murdoch case was that his family, his grandfather, great-grandfather, had all been working at courthouse. As a matter of fact, this is kind of unreal. They had to remove his grandfather's picture from the wall in the courtroom. That's how, but again, that's Southern Carolina law, different than in the whole world. But guess what? I'm happy to say we have now the next half hour our Honorable Chuck DeBow III. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great. Good afternoon.
Hey, Chuck.
My Reverend.
Okay. Everybody's doing fine, Chuck. We had a guest today, Miss Coffee Wright. She went for Alderman here in the city of St. Louis in the Devil Ward. And unfortunately, we scheduled an interview about a month ago. We was not aware that here in St. Louis, you've been heard of this, where you are Kim Gordon, our city attorney. Is right now there's some people that are trying to have her removed from office. There's who's trying to support her. So today, Coffee is at a press conference, and that's why she's on the air with, so you cannot hear her too well. So right now, that was our guest for today, so kid you had to leave us, okay? So now, having said that, so let me ask you a question I hadn't asked you before, okay? And I just noticed this recently. Chuck, you are the third, right?
Right.
Okay. Why don't you tell me about your father and your grandfather? Those two.
I don't know. Where shall I begin? What would you like to know?
Well, you're the third, okay?
Yes,
tell me
sir.
about number two and number one, okay?
Well, number one is my grandfather, and we're all from Indianapolis, Indiana. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was he was a very proud father, husband, black man, coming out from the post-slavery days in a environment where black folks had a lot of pride. And even though he was his job, for the most part, he was a shoe shine boy. In this case, a shoe shine man. They ran a very professional shoe shine.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know about those.
And these are guys that wore suits and fedoras and dressed up, but, that was the standard way of dressing back in the 20s, 1920, back around in those areas. And it was in Indianapolis. Indianapolis was known as it was kind of like a little bit of that northern crossroads, that once you crossed the Mason-Dixon line and you got up into kind of like almost to Chicago. A lot of people were trying to come up that route. If you look at migration routes, you kind of go these highways across America, the north and south. So all the way on the East Coast, you had 95. Then you have 75, which is kind of coming down out of Michigan. And then coming out of Chicago, you had 65. And this is before they had the highways, but there were migration routes. So if you were coming up from the south and you were trying to find a job or make a life for yourself or get out of that, I guess what you might call Jim Crow South, you were heading north.
It was Jim Crow South.
Yeah, and a lot of black folks ended up running out of money by the time they got as far as Indianapolis. And so it just turned out Indianapolis had it was a suppressed black population, but they were progressive in that they wanted to build families, get educated, and be honorable and distinctive and contributing people. And my grandmother was a domestic. She was a house cleaner. And but they would surprise you because they were both very intelligent. They were both prideful and had ambitions for their children. So there were two kids and my father's friends. So this was Charles DeBow Jr., who was my father. Charles DeBow Sr. Is my grandfather. And my grandfather had been in the military. He was a Buffalo soldier. Okay. And so that military service ran in the family. And before that, which unfortunately I don't know a lot about my great-grandparents on my paternal side, but I do know they came from Tennessee, and they were Huguenots. They were French. My last name is DeBow, D-E-B-O-W, and it's French, not Creole or not from the New Orleans version. These were true French, and they were military people that were related to Napoleon Bonaparte. And as the generations evolved, they ended up in Indianapolis. And it's a funny thing about it was that my father's father and my mother's father both at one time or another shined shoes. And they went on to make very credible, distinguished lives for their children and family. My father was a product of that, kind of like almost what we've seen now, that generational thing where you want your kid to go to college, you have every opportunity, want them to do things. So my father was in the ROTC in high school, and he excelled at it. He was very good at it, and received some awards and recognition for it. And he was athletic. He ran track, and he went to Hampton Institute, and there was a government program and this is back, where everything was segregated, and so they had a program there where you could apply for. It was a experimental type program, a prototype, and it was civil defense, and they were training. They were seeing who might want to learn how to fly a plane. And that's how my father learned how to fly. He applied for the program, got accepted, and he also pledged a fraternity. He was a Omega Psi Phi, and this was at Hampton Institute. And they eventually, when there was a beginning of World War II, they started this whole thing in Tuskegee where it was the Army Air Corps, and they started to say, well, we're going to have to do something with these black folks and figure something out. So we're going to start an experiment and see if we can teach them how to fly. Well, that's the kind of, like, I won't say the funny thing, but the ironic thing about it was they really had no intention of teaching them how to fly, but it was kind of like they had to make them fail. They had to, they were going to look like they tried on paper, but it just didn't work out. So it was really difficult. And I forgot how many people applied for the program, but let's just say it was 70 to 100. And they and they washed out all but 5. And my father was fortunate, was one of those 5. But that common denominator is that all 5 of them already knew how to fly before they got there. And that was the real factor, because it wasn't so much about teaching them. It was like trying to give them stuff to do that they couldn't do. And as much as they tried it, but that was how it began. And out of that, there's all these trials and tribulations, and similar like the way the movie Red Tails always showed, they didn't really get into the real origins in the beginning as much. But they trained and trained and trained, and finally they said, okay, we're going to send y'all overseas. And then they sat overseas for a while waiting on an assignment, give them something to do. And they try to just kind of like, hey, y'all in the military, y'all over here, you got your little unit, and, just stay out of trouble. Don't get in the way and stay over there amongst yourselves. So it was still very segregated. And so they would get little, and this is just me saying it. I don't have exactly, they were given them tactical type missions. Go bomb a bridge or stop this train, or we need this road blown up. Those kinds of things. And they were doing that, and they're very good at it. And it just kind of evolved to the point where occasionally one of them might get involved with a dogfight or getting involved with some other things, but it was never like an assignment or a mission. It was something that just happened, And then there was one pilot, I can't remember his name, but they were coming back, just like in the movie. They were coming back from a mission, and they were flying over a body of water and saw a ship down there, and decided that they had ammunition left, and they were going to go down there and attack this ship with just machine guns. They didn't have any bombs or anything, which was really unheard of and kind of crazy. But this crazy pilot, as well as the Tuskegee Airmen, he attacked that ship, and they actually sunk it off of machine gun fire, which was unprecedented. I mean, it might have happened before, but this one made history because it was a Tuskegee Airman, because he was not assigned or told to go do that. And
he looked at what they were doing.
Yeah, it pulled off some stuff. So then you had this whole thing with these bombers, because there was like heavy duty bombing going on after Germany had just bombed day and night England. And once the United States entered the war, that's one of the first things Churchill said: we need support, we need help. And they were just eating up the supply lines, the U-boats. And so they had them run. Well, what was happening was that bombers were getting eaten up. And they're like sitting ducks. They're like big fortress flying across there in these Messerschmitts.
And it was slow.
Yeah, these German planes would come through there and just light them up. And so sometimes the escorts and the protection that they had would just leave them. You know how they say never leave your wingman? Well, their assignment was to protect these bombers. And the bombers were saying, we're sitting ducks up here. We don't have the proper support. And they were saying, are there any more planes? Is there anybody left or anything we could do? And they said, well, we got these black guys over here, these Negroes, and we could try to find something to do them, but we're not going to promise you anything. Well, that's where they got together. It said, General Davis was the commander, was the leader. He was a guy that had gone to West Point, and he was in the Army, and his father was a general, and they made him the leader of this group, and a lot of it had to do with his military upbringing. And he was a academy graduate, and he was very prepared and astute, and it was legacy with him. And so basically they got their first mission. They went out there and didn't lose a bomber in the bombers didn't know who was banning this protection, these planes that were protecting them. And they had gotten together, so they wanted to make a name for themselves, the Tuskegee Airmen, and they painted all the tails of the planes red. And all these bomber pilots knew is we don't know who they are, but their color was red. They were red signal. We don't know. And eventually they found out that they were a black guy, and everybody was amazed and befuddled, and basically just said, well, whoever they are, they saved my life. You know, once you go through all the dynamics, all the semantics of it, say, well, in the end, I get to go home to my family, or I may get to go back and do it again tomorrow. On another issue, before that, they were getting eaten alive, and a lot of people were being lost, shot down. And so that's how they started to become, if you were being protected by them, the odds of you coming back from your mission were much, much higher than if you didn't have that particular group of people protecting you. And they were very disciplined, and they essentially could not make a mistake, because if they did, it was like possibly cancel the whole program, possibly just send them home, possibly everything that could go wrong would be blamed on them. But you know, you asked me about my father. That's really his. Well, really, the fame on one aspect, but you know, there's more to it.
No, Tim, really, okay. You just described the creation of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yes, sir. There's so much rich history there that you will never hear about unless you decide to take it upon yourself to research. Mm-hmm. These movies are Hollywoodish, and they're not really getting into the. They want to tell the story and just kind of make it seem like it was all an action movie, but it's really about segregation and racism. In addition to, and here you're volunteering or giving your life to protect a country that did not love you, did not support you, and basically, in the beginning, couldn't care less what you did or didn't do, other than to chastise you and say, you're not part of this.
You know, Chuck, in the same case, okay, my father fought in the World War I, okay, but he could not fight under the American flag. He had to fight under the French flag. And they went around black folks, to fight. So I can relate to it. Anyway, we both have some legacies here. That got us where we are. But anyway, having said that, Chuck, you are now the CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. Tell me exactly what all that entails.
Yeah. So that was a lot of people know the kind of like the general story about how the war part played out. But if you notice, that's where the movie ends. Mm-hmm. They're not really even showing them coming back and what happens when you get back from the war. Oh, no. You know, a lot of us have an idea of what it was like, or know somebody that went through what it was like coming back from Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit different thing. But my father essentially was qualified to teach physics because of the training in the classroom and all the stuff you had to know about aerodynamics and flying a plane and all the elements that go with that. But nobody wanted to hire him. So if you go through and kind of study each one of the guys and where they did, some of them had family businesses, some of them started a business. Those that didn't start a business basically had to do whatever they could find. So on one hand, they came back as heroes and they saluted them, but didn't nobody want to hire them. Didn't nobody want to give them a job. So it was supposedly done as an honor. But my father, when he came back, they made him, they gave him a job. I shouldn't say they made him, but he needed a job. And he was offered a job being a chauffeur for Mrs. Lilly. This is either the Eli Lilly Company, which is probably one of the biggest companies in Indianapolis, but certainly one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And he just did that for a little while, and he had various jobs, but he loved education and he loved to teach. He went back to school, got his master's, and he taught at Indiana University IUPUI campus, Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis. So they had a joint thing there. And he did that for a number of years. He worked at various jobs in the school system. And was really just, you know, and that's kind of like when I was born. I really didn't know all this other stuff. I knew him more as kind of like a gentle guy that was very pro-education. And my mother also has her master's degree in education. She was a school teacher. And we didn't sit around the table talking about World War II or anything like that, but all these people would see him out or invite him to come and speak, or somebody writing a book or something and want to come by the house and interview him. And he'd kind of tell me what was going on, and I saw all these photos, and I saw uniform things and medals and stuff he had from it. But I never really understood what it was or the depth of it. And in a sense, it was a lot of pain associated with it, emotional pain, in having done these great things but not being recognized for it, not being given credit for it, and being treated in such a way. But there are a lot of people that were helped and touched. And if you know any of these guys, they're compassionate people, and they learned a value of life. See, one thing about pilots, even though they're out there shooting, pulling the trigger, shooting bullets and doing that, it's not hand-to-hand combat. So you're not really seeing the people that you're killing. But a lot of the guys that were in the military that, you know, you have the, let's call it the reasonable man. The average person in society is a reasonable man, raised within a certain moral and standards and fear of God. And in that, you have some standards. But when you're forced to go out and, like, you know, Muhammad Ali talking about, go kill somebody that you're not really sure what you're killing them for or what you're doing. And they're saying, well, we're defending democracy or capitalism or any of these things they tell you, but it's really some politician somewhere. I mean, World War II is a little bit different, but a lot of this stuff that's been happening since that time, you know, are questionable or marginal. Are we going after somebody's oil, or what, you know, what is really behind it? And, you know, so there's a lot of dynamics there, but it has a lot to do with, you know, they call it the greatest generation. All those people that were fought in World War II, and the economic revolution, the industrial revolution, everything that happened after that, as we became a productive society, and they ramped up production. I mean, I'm sure you had the same experience in St. Louis, particularly, but when the steel mills and the industrial commerce really flourished and took off, and that's kind of like back that invigorated that migration route. People were coming to the big cities for jobs, and it had been that way. But after World War II, it really was at almost like the all-time high. And then there was the GI Bill, and the baby boomer generation started, as everybody came back, was having babies, getting married. And, you know, if you were fortunate enough to have survived the war, you just praise God to be alive, you know, and be able to come home and try to partake upon a normal life.
Well, Chuck, you know, you just gave your father, okay, the respect, okay, that he had that guy before. Did you know that?
I don't really think of it so much.
No. You don't, okay. I'm saying you don't, okay.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? When you listen to this tape, okay, and I send it to you, okay, you understand more about what you just did.
Yeah. So you end up carrying a lot of it's a burden to bear, and that's kind of like how we get into this. We find ourselves in this nonprofit space where we're trying to help people. Yeah, we're trying to help people, and I have never seen it ever. I couldn't imagine that same way. I mean, it's like you don't believe what your eyes are seeing, but you got to realize your eyes are seeing what's real, and people don't care. I mean, it's a lot of people that have been conditioned by society that there's a reason why there's all these homeless people. There's a reason why are we as a country so far in debt to have little to show for what you spent your money on? Where did it go? What are we doing? Why do we have so many homeless people? Why do we have food insecurity? Why are we having these issues with this education? Why are, infrastructure, bridges falling down, police? I mean, you name all these ills of society. Well, there was a time where they would have a program that would be set up and designed to counter that. And it was measurable. It worked, and things were there. And, it happened.
Gentlemen, it's 2:57.
Okay.
Wow, time flies, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I'll just get going.
I'm talking about you really, okay, you just told a story, okay, that all those generations, mind you, also, okay, they were programmed, they were created, okay, they made people become productive, okay, when their bodies will be unproductive. Okay, what you just told. But anyway, they have to see that. What's going to happen with this aspect you come with this week we can know about?
Man, we're so excited to have this, the vision forward. Stay tuned. We're going to be announcing a save the date for the annual conference we're doing in conjunction with the National Business League for the National Alliance for Black Business. It's going to be in Atlanta, and it is a call for all of civil society and communities alike, be the mayors, the government people, corporate business owners, and just average folks to come together, bring your ideas in here, and we're moving this thing forward. We're not relying on any branch of government. We're not relying on what used to be called welfare. We're not relying on what we should have, supposed to have. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that.
Well, Chuck, I'm excited because I can see it taking place right before my very eyes. Okay, and I can't always talk all about it. Okay, but it's taking place so fast. And I want to commend you, okay, for that, what you continue to do. But I haven't said it, okay, that's what the Turkey Bowl the third, okay, Turkey Bowl the third, and that's Reverend Elder Lyles, that's Scott Owens, and my name is Ira Folks, and we'll have a lunch with the election conference that we do every Saturday at this time. We can be found on Facebook, YouTube, live today. And also, you can always get us on Spotify. Just put in lunch with the Missouri Vacuum Conference, and you can find us 24 hours a day around the world. Turkey Bowl, thank you so much, brother, for being tell us the story about Turkey Bowl, the first and second. And now we live right now, Turkey Bowl the third. We look forward to what you're doing, Chuck.
All right, thank you. God bless. Have a great afternoon.
And Chuck, listen to this program when you get it, okay?
Amen.
Love you, brother. Life be safe. Everybody.
All right. Love you too.